Okay, welcome to the session on VARC. Ask me anything. So, welcome one and all. So, if you have any questions, you can post it. I'll pick it up and answer as we go along. That's how I'm thinking of taking the session. I have um, dotly anything specific in my mind that I kind of want to share. I mean, there are a few ideas that I could share in terms of what is that you have to do with respect to VRC. But what I'm likely going to do is pick up questions. Hello, Meghna. Okay, so you can ask me anything, and I'll pick up one by one. And I hope that that will kind of solve the purpose. We'll do about ah. I think certain things have to be shown. Thank you. All right. All right. So we'll start with the first one. What is that? According to you, difficult level of ERC as a comparison of 2023. So if I recollect 2023, what happened in 2023? 2023, the 99th percentile was about 37 marks. And if I look at, I mean, of course, that's a scale score. If I look at anything that is, if you look at the last, let's say, 4 years, 2023 would have been probably little sort of a painful kind of cat. So that's the case. So I actually don't know per se what the level of difficulty may be, but it's very, very likely going to be somewhere in between of 2023 and 2024. Since IMK is creating the paper, if I go back and look at the 2019 paper, I mean, it was not very difficult, but I think you'll probably likely going to get a lot of critical reasoning type of questions. There you go. Okay. Let's see, what is the next one? Sir, can you help with some surprise in the ERC that you've seen over the years, like scrambling in 2024? I know predictions don't work by pattern. So if I look at, for example, 2024 paper was created by IIM Calcutta, right? The last time this kind of scrambling happened with respect to the question was in 2018, which was also created by IIM Calcutta. So I think that the scrambling was done by IIM Calcutta. My feeling is that there is likely going to be, um, I mean, the kind of the same structure RCs percent VA towards it. What I'm assuming, in terms of surprise, I think this actually the surprise it doesn't make any sense. I mean, there are three slots. Who am I going to surprise? You're going to supply slot number one. So I don't know what are the surprises. But one of the things that we have seen in the last, let's say, 3-4 years is in terms of the type of question that comes in VA. So that is, I mean, one fine day, I think they started the standards placement, removed the odd sentence, then they got back odd sentence, then they removed paragraph jumble. So, but I think one of the things that you got to understand is whatever be the what about surprise? All this question is going to be based on comprehension, whether you're comprehending a passage or comprehending a paragraph. So you got the skill to deal with any of these questions. So I don't think you should worry too much. Only he can save us. I don't know what who is he. Probably God. I don't know what you're referring to. Let's look at the next one. Hello, sir. Nowadays, I'm not able to map passages. I don't know it's fatigue or what, but I don't feel like reading. What do you mean you don't? What do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean you don't feel like reading? See, at the end of the day, na, why we are doing all this? We are doing all this because we want to get into a top B school. And why do you want to get into a top B school? To have a great career. And why do you want to have a great career? To probably get a lot of money in your life, prosperity in your life. So that passage in front of you is money. So one of the things that see every single question in the VRC section will be based on information given there, right? I mean, if you look at even if you look at the VA questions, so it's all right there, all reading comprehension passages, the information is right there. You just have to read at your pace of comprehension, and you tell yourself that whatever you're reading is interesting to me. It's going to at least change my perception of something. Welcome sort of whatever is the passage that you see on the screen, and read it like you care. And I don't think that fatigue should be a problem. Just ignore that. We don't have any fatigue problem. Anything we are there to rock. You develop all the skills. So I don't think it's an issue. Okay. Next question. What is happening? Sir, my VRC scores are declining from 40s to 30s. Now when I look at this decline, no, so this is a 10 mark difference. So please do understand. I'm assuming, let's say you're attempting close to about 20 to 20 questions. Let's just say I'm assuming it, right? And I'm getting, let's say, the score of 40. which means I'm looking at about 20 questions with about 75% accuracy. That probably thereabout. I'm in my 40s. Let's say so what that means is if I get in one particular test one question wrong, your score is going to drop by -4. That is +3 to -1. So this is just a two question drop. So obviously, when you look at the 40s and 30s, or two or three questions drop, right? So this is likely sort of happening. My feeling, Asta, is that essentially happening because you are going with a pre-decided target. I want to attempt something. I want to look at this many attempts. What you have to do is very, very simple. Look at the question on the screen. That's what cat is, one question at a time. I control the next button. I don't control what question comes on my screen, but everything else is in my control. I read things at my own pace. I solve it at my own pace. I really want to get 3 marks out of this one question. That's all I'm going to focus on. The question that I see on the screen. And the question really confuses me. I think there is no point sitting and wasting time in the hope that I'm going to get 3 marks. There is no point, right? Because if we do that with 4 questions, if you end up spending extra time, let's say you ended up spending extra 2 minutes per question, and you did these 4 questions, that's like 8 minutes extra. For what? For 4 marks, maybe for 0 marks, maybe for negative marks. Why? So what all you got to do is that you have got the skills to get to 40s, which is great, right? You have to trust the skills, right? Know that if a question confuses you, it is not only you, because you are the one who is getting the score of 40. If you are getting confused, Janta is going to get confused. There is no point working with this particular. I'm just going to go next. If I want to get a score of 14, 40-ish or 40, so I need to get what? 14 questions with 100% accuracy. So let's say that even if I make an attempt of confident attempt about 18 questions, my confidence, at least I have reasonable confidence about the answer. I think it should be okay. So I don't think that you should worry much. Okay, what else? So not able to understand the complete sentence, how to summarize. All right, so we are on the 25th. We have got 5 more days. The cat is sitting. Fair enough, yeah. I think what you should do is, I don't know what the real problem is, but my advice always is and always has been that you read the passage at your pace. Oh, it's just 500 words, right? It's just 500 words. And and then, and even if, let's say, you read it really slow, like 120 words, which is really slow, you will be able to read the passage in about 5 minutes, right? And so long as you don't get stuck in questions, or you move forward, you can easily navigate a particular passage. Let's say if you're what you can do, I'm sure that what you've been doing is to sort of engage with the test. No, so you take a pause after reading about 3 sentences or maybe even a paragraph, reflect on, okay, what author really telling me here? What is this guy telling me? All right, this makes sense. So even if, let's say, there are some sentences you cannot understand, I'm sure that you can still get a gist of the whole passage and navigate it. So that's what I would say. All right, let's look at what will be the safer score to cross 80th percentile. I mean, if I look at 80th percentile over the years, I mean, it's about 18 to 22 marks, right? Obviously, there is going to be scaling up and scaling down. So what I would kind of recommend is to cross the 80th percentile. I'm assuming it's a percentile, not percentage, right? 80 percentage marks will be awesome. Percentile, I'm looking at about a score of mid 20s, 25 to 30, that range, right? So if you want to achieve sort of that score of mid 20s, you're actually looking at maybe about, let's say, if a VA can net you about 10 marks, right? And let's say, I'm, I'm just giving it a number. So essentially looking something that is close to about 15 to 20 marks from RCs, right? If VA helps the 10 marks. Okay, so that's basically what you should do. All right, what is next? We are moving. Can you please suggest tips for improvement? I think after we had I remember your 40. I think the tip is very, very simple, right? So I cannot improve my skills in the next 5 days. I have to use whatever skills that I've got to get the score that I need. What stops me from getting the score in the RC is doing things different from what I'm used to doing. For example, I start reading the passage faster for no reason whatsoever. Or let's say if I get stuck in a particular question, I start panicking and stuff. So the only thing that I want is on the day of the cat, what I want is whatever is a skill that I have, I want to put good use to the skill that I've painfully developed. in all this effort of preparation that I've done. So remember, and I'm telling to everyone, remember, cat is just a set of questions on the screen. You don't have to worry about the timer. You don't have to worry about score. You are dealing with one question at a time on the screen, right? So you keep your focus on the question. Try and get the 3 marks. If the 3 marks is not happening, let's say if you're confused between options or confused between which two blanks the sentence goes in, all right, I'm just going to leave because there is some other question available for me, right? If you are someone who's looking at a score of 30s, if I if, so there are enough questions for me to get 30s. So there are enough questions. If one question is paining me, no issues. I'm going to go to the next one. So that's my advice. Rudra says, good evening. Good evening to you as well. Okay, okay, let's look at this. Sir, but accuracy is not permanent in RC. What's best to do in the data? Exactly. See, accuracy. So let me talk about this one. I'm sure that this will help everyone who's attending the paper. There are usually three things that happens in VRC. It doesn't happen. These three things doesn't happen in QA. QA is either I know or I don't. Right. So when I calculate and get an answer, either I'm 100% confident that's an answer, or okay, that's how the QA works. In VRC, the level of confidence that I have with a particular answer choice is rarely is going to be 100%. So there are three things that happens. Right. Situation number one. Ha! Answer choice three. That is my answer. I am confident. It may be wrong, but at least during the time, I'm really confident about it. That is situation number one. In this case, we just mark it. There's no problem. We just read the four options. We're very, very sure. Okay, this is something that has been discussed. The other three options doesn't make any sense. I can eliminate them, or this particular option, I'm 100% certain. I mark it. So I don't know how many questions you attempt. Out of the number of questions you attempt, I'm assuming that about 50% of the questions are like this. Right, that is more or less confidence, and our accuracy level in this particular question is going to be very high. The second type is I read the question, I go through the options, and it will be true for any type of question, even VA. I'm going through the stuff, and there is one answer choice that is telling me, please pick me. And I don't know, I can't reason myself as to why this is right. I can't explain it to myself why this particular answer choice is telling me that's an answer choice. I can't explain it, but it feels right for some reason. But I can't explain it at that point in time. So my confidence level is may not be about 100%, but it's still about 70-80%. At that point in time, what I would do is I'll pick what I feel. In the field that's going to be right, instead of doing evaluation, I'm assuming I've read the passage at my own pace. I evaluate the question carefully. One option is looking at me, that I can easily pick up that particular question. Right, I'm just going to pick it. The reason why I say that is that all these skill set that I've developed over the years, so it's there in my subconscious mind, and I'm hoping that it's my subconscious mind working, and my intuition is based on the skills that I've developed. So there is a second situation, which may be around another about 4 to 5 to 20% of the rest of the questions, right? Then there are third kind of questions. The third kind of question is I'm stuck now. I've eliminated two options, or maybe I've eliminated two blanks. Okay, or in the odd sentence, I eliminated three sentences. I'm stuck with these two. Okay, I've in let's say paragraph jumble. I've got the order three sentences, but I don't know where I have to place this other sentence. You're kind of you're stuck somewhere, and at that point in time, hope is good. All we have is a hope. Maybe I'll get 3 marks from this particular question. I'm working on a hope, and it may very well be that I'm got -1. That is a that is, I think that what you have to do at that stage is to tell you we will not do any frustrated reasoning. And I'm kind of frustrated at this point in time. And while I'm thinking in that frustration, unnecessarily I'm going to waste time. For what? So I know that in the paper there are enough questions which I can handle. I don't want to get stuck here. And I will click the button next and move on. And if I have time towards the end, I may come back. But at least in that process, I'm picking those questions I'm reasonably confident about. Now, in this case, I've read one RC passage. I'm only confident with one question. Second question, confusing. Third question, confusing. Fourth question, confusing. The problem that happens is you're thinking, shocks, I wasted all this time reading the particular passage. I want at least 8 marks from the particular passage, and then we get all sort of trouble. What I would do is that I know that if the passage is confusing to me, it is confusing to everyone. This is a dangerous three questions. Three questions dangerous. I'm just going to go to the next. Instead of sitting and wasting extra 8 minutes on this three question, I get maybe one correct and two wrong. That's like 1 mark. Extra 8 minutes. I rather would have spent the 8 minutes on the next passage. I probably would have knocked out two more questions, 6 marks from there. So that's all my suggestion is. Your accuracy is not going to be permanent, right? There are a lot of variables. But what is absolutely in my control is the buttons of the screen. It is in my control. And when I go to the test, what I carry with you is all the effort that I did in my sort of preparation, all the skills that I've developed. I'm going to trust that skill and I'm going to trust it. So if it is confusing to me, it's not worth it. That's all you got to do. All right. I hope that made sense. I'm sure that that would have answered many of these questions. Let's go another one. Sir, what shall we do in the last 4 days? Shall we carry on with section or something else? Ravi Jain. Okay, Ravi. This is a very difficult question to answer. It's like the preparation that each one have to an event, right? I'll take an analogy of a sport. There's a sporting event, or maybe there's a presentation I have to make, or something that I got to do. The sort of the last 3 4 days preparation is very very specific to individual. So I would first say that you should do what makes sense to you, right? And whatever makes sense to you is the right thing to do. Huh? So I don't have any specific thing. What I obviously don't want is given in a situation where I end up taking one sectional and my score is low, and then I feel lot many things. If you feel that you are already in a good place, and I want to take to the class good place, just to previous year's paper, so reading some articles, so that the thing is still there. So and if, let's say if you're still figuring out, okay, let's say that, or maybe a specific case wherein, all right, everything else is fine, my RC is where RC is, in something is happening with respect to the questions on sentence placement, that sort of these paragraph with blanks, I still having issue here. Maybe I should give it a go, give it maybe 1 or 2 days of effort on that particular type of question. Maybe that will increase my mark to 3. So my suggestion to you, and my suggestion to everybody, do what you think is best for you, right? And that's what I would kind of recommend. One of the things that I'll surely want you to do is to ensure that your biological clock is working, right? You may have an uncomfortable slot, right? You're not used to waking up early, and now that you've got a cat which is slot number one, or you have a particular thing with respect to your food, right? Your lunch. Now you got a slot number two which is very weird slot. I mean, it's like 12:30 to 2, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. It's sort of weird slot. When do I have lunch? What is it I got to do? So I think that that biological the clock gets. So imagine that it's like you're traveling to a different country. They have a different time zone. So it's just about 1 or 2 days you'll get adjusted to do it. So ensure that you are kind of well equipped in this, and keep your energy high, eat healthy. Okay, that's sort of what gets okay. All right, question, sir. Hopefully, I'll be able to address everything. Uh, Sir, can you suggest a VA strategy? All right. So first of all, this strategy is like a weird thing. I don't know what a strategy really is. Um, obviously, I use the word strategy. It's a nice word to use, but at the end of the day, what is CAT? Like I told you, na, it's a set of questions on the screen. Na. The VA का problem बताता हूँ, and this is a problem that most of you have. First thing is that many of us treat VA as a bonus. I'm an RC guy. I'm an RC person. I look at RC and I'm working on RC. I said, VA, if I have time towards the end, I'll solve. There is a huge problem, right? So, for example, from reading comprehension per passage, if you get all the 4 questions correct, 12 marks. 3 questions correct, 8 marks. 2 questions correct, 4 marks. 1 question correct, 0 mark. All wrong, -4. So these are the scenario if you attempt all the 4 questions. So kind of maintaining an average of 8 marks per RC, right? Eight marks per RC, which is fantastic. So if you solve 2 RC, 16 marks from 2 RC, amazing. If you solve 3 RC, 24 marks from 3 RC, awesome. If you solve all the RCs, like getting 32 marks from all the 4 RCs, awesome. But we probably will not be there, right? If you're solving 3 RCs, on a good day, you probably will hit 24. But one more question wrong. 24 is what? Out of the 12 questions, 9 correct. No, if it becomes 8 correct out of the 12, that becomes 20 marks. 7 correct, that will become 16 marks. So usually from RC, if you're solving about 3 RCs, you're probably going to be getting about 16 to 20-ish. And if let's say if things work out on that particular day, great, we can probably cross 24, right? If you're solving 2 RCs, usually you see the score sometimes in single digits also, but usually you see the score somewhere in 12, in from the RC, 2 RC, 12-ish. And if you look at 4 RCs, you really want to get 30 marks, but you don't see 30 marks usually. Usually you see something like in your 20s from reading comprehension. That's where you are, which means for us to do well in this section, known as VRC, VA is needed. So VA has got 24 marks worth of questions. I need to get, I don't know, 12 will be amazing. You attach from RC. For example, if someone is doing 2 RCs and then the VA, right? Let's say you are getting about, let's say, 12 marks from the 2 RCs, or let's say 8 marks from the 2 RC. If a VA, or let's say 12 marks, something, if a VA gets you 12 marks, that gets you 24, which means you're very close to about 85th percentile. Let's say you're doing 3 RCs and VA. Yeah, from the 3 RCs is likely going to be, what scores will be like 15-ish, maybe 20-ish, maybe around that range. You add 12 to that, you're crossing 30s, which means you're hitting the 95, 97 percentile. If you're doing, let's say, 4 RCs, and you're probably going to get close to about 25, maybe even 30 marks on a good day, 25, 30, and then you add about 12 marks, your score is going to go to the 40s. So VA is needed. So you should not be looking at VA as a bonus section, hua to hua. No, to do well in VA, you don't require too much of time in VA. Maybe I have to dedicate about 12 minutes. The only way to get that 12 minutes is not getting stuck in questions. I cannot be reading passages faster to reach here. I have to read the passage in my face of a question. Don't get stuck because there are 8 VA questions. Okay, that's number one. Kushi. Number two is that one of the problem with VA is we have some favorites. I like paragraph summary. Sir, odd sentence is always a problem. So I don't do odd sentence only. So we have decided today. I don't know what slot is yours. Slot one. We don't know in slot one what kind of VA question is going to come, which is going to be easy, difficult. I don't know what is going to happen in slot two. I don't know what's going to happen in slot three. But I know in the VA there'll be 4 to 5 questions that is manageable. But I don't know which one is manageable. So the way in which I will look at VA is the question on the screen. I will decide to look at the question on the screen and then decide on the question on the screen. I will answer the question on the screen. If it is troubling me, next. I'll be very open and not say that, okay, just because I have problem with a particular type of question before, this slot 2 cat, I'm going to have the problem with the same type of question. No, it is all about how the question is designed. So therefore, my strategy for VA, if you want to call that, is be absolutely agnostic with respect to what type of questions. Ensure that you're focusing. Now, if let's say today, if you've not given enough effort for VA, we still have some time, right? You have a lot of these mock text section tests available now that you have not taken. Why don't you just spend about 10 to 12 minutes and solve sort of the VA questions and see how it works? Maybe you can pick up over 3 things, 4 things, and get about 10 marks from VA. That will change your life. All right, what else? Any advice on paragraph jumble odd one out? They are too uncertain. Would not spending time on them. And yeah, there you go. Why would you randomly mark? I need marks from the question on the screen. I don't know. Some paragraph jumble questions are painful. Some are not. Some odd sentence questions are genuinely painful. Some are not. I have no idea what the question. I can't sit here and decide. Na, मैं क्या करने वाला हूँ? Odd sentence paragraph jumble. See, I can. You have to understand something about paragraph jumbles. There is one logical, the way in which they design paragraph jumble question they can't. Okay, in some of the mocks that you have taken or some of the questions that you have taken may not be designed really well. Okay, but I'm saying may not be. I'm not saying okay. But in the cat is always going to be designed in such a way that there is only one correct way of solving it, and one correct order and odd one order the same thing, right? So you could so you could what I would recommend is that you can pick up some of these questions from the previous year's cat papers. Look at all the paragraph jumble question. Look at all the odd one question. I don't know whether paragraph jumble and odd one, which one will come in the cat. Last year, odd paragraph jumble was not there. Year before that, all were there. One of the years, the odd one was not there. But obviously, we cannot leave it to fate. So you would randomly ticking is never a good strategy. Why would I tick anything random just because this is negative marking? I need marks. Imagine it is two. a paragraph summary, two sentence placement, two paragraph jumble, two odd sentence. I cannot sit here and decide that a four question I'm not going to give respect. How can I do that? Four question is what? 12 marks. What? 12 marks is a lot. I mean that if I get one question correct, that is 3 marks. 3 marks is great. Two question correct, that's 6 marks. 6 marks is awesome from wherever we are. So please, please, please don't have that attitude. Okay, there you go. What is next? Hello, sir. The only VRC analysis I do are the ones you make videos on. I love the pros of for this reason only. You make VRC fun. Thanks a lot. My question is how to motivate myself in the last few days. First of all, Rahul, thank you for those kind words. All right. So I mean, see, this is what I will say. Na. Forget motivation. Na. We are here for a purpose. Forget motivation. Right? The only thing that I know is I have put in my effort. I have developed my skills. My skills are there. Even though in some of these mocks that I've taken, I see low score, but that is not me. Right? When I do the analysis, I know I can get the marks. I have developed the skills. It is with me. Right? I'm going to stay absolutely positive. I'm not going to worry about. I'm only going to remember the good marks. I think that the marks that you got great marks, let's just open it and have a look at what the relive those mocks where you've done really well or the question that you've done really well. I want to keep myself like that. No negative thoughts whatsoever. Thinking is a waste of time. When at least something happens, just open some book and start reading something. Okay, reading an article or watching some YouTube or whatever it might be, videos or something with some idea. So I would say in the last few days, only um, that is the way in which to motivate ourselves is, I would say that reflect and remember the pain and sweat that we put in to reach here and reflect the journey. Think about where we started and where we are now. Think about what changes happened to me and how much of perspective that I've gained by reading so many articles on diverse topics that I've got knows, right? I've started reading philosophy part of a passage articles I've never read before. I know I have some understanding in terms of what anthropology is. I have read passage humanities and literature. I've read on sciences. I've gained tremendous about skill and perspective, and this whole process changed me for the better. It was a great process, and I'm actually absolutely thankful that I've actually gone through and done this process, that I know that I got the skill. All I have to do is keep it very, very simple. There are questions on the screen. That's all CAT is. CAT is nothing else. Question on the screen where I have complete control on all the buttons. I control the test. I have control. I have got the skill to get the marks that I need. If let's say I want to get 100 marks from the CAT, that is what? Getting 33 questions correct. There are 68 questions. If let's say one question pains me, who cares? Button is next. If let's say for during the test, I suddenly in the middle of the particular RC passage, I zoned out. I don't know what just happened. I went blank. No problem. Okay, I'm not going to sit and be zoned on for 40 minutes. No, I'll just close my eyes and I'll breathe and I'll come back and I'll focus back on the test. The only thing that I care is a question that I see on the screen. I don't care about timer. I don't care about the score. I don't care about what is going to happen. The only thing that I care is the question. And this process is absolutely enjoyable. I put in all this effort, everything that I did to reach here on the day of the CAT to experience how my skills is there, that is going to be a rocking that I'm going to have. That's how I move. All right, let's carry on. Sir, I attempt 3 RCs, 6 to 8 VAs question, but the last I attempted all 4 RCs and 5 VAs. There are improvement in score. Is it advisable to change strategy in last? Oh! See, I mean, you know what? See, at the end of the day, now you have to access as many questions that you're confident about. Na, yeah, na, apna cat. There are 24 questions. I have to keep accessing as many questions that I'm confident. Let me define that to be an attempt. A lot of people that have to maximize attempt. If I have to maximize attempt, if I define attempt as marking an answer, then I can sit, if it's slot number 1, I can sit at 8:30, put 3, and I marked everything. That is not an attempt. Let me define what an attempt is. Attempt is I'm reasonably confident about the answer. So I want to get as many questions that I'm reasonably confident about. So in your mind, keep it very, very simple, right? you probably can do the 3 RCs, do the VA, and if you have time, definitely do the fourth RC because you are accessing more number of questions. So you are the way in which basically what would have happened with respect to 4 RCs is you probably would have touched RC score very close to about 24ish. The 5E, I don't know which are the three that you didn't attempt, which means you probably did not have time towards it. So this is what I will say is that you can do 3 RCs. Don't change anything. Don't read fast. Keep it very, very simple. Read it at tone and pace. Just don't get stuck in a question. Keep moving forward. Do the VA. And in the last minute, you can do the fourth RC. That's what I would say. All right. Sound great. Okay. Free. Okay. Thank you so much. Chirag, thank you. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is Career Launcher MBA. Good learning compounds when you share it. Spread the word. All right. The Career Launcher is asking you to spread the word. Okay. So my marks in VRC dipped a lot and I'm not able to cross 30 marks, feeling very stressed. No, 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 no. See this. You have to basically understand. Nah, every test is an independent event. No. I think that we tend to see that because last 10 side dip, this test I'm going to. These are all independent events. Everything is independent, mutually exclusive. Okay, not even collectively exhaustive, but it's mutually exclusive, independent events. One event has got no impact on the other. So what you'll have to do, I think that's something. I think what you can reflect on at this point in time is looking at what changed. Did anything change? You randomly marked, or is it like the passage that you picked had all this confusing question, and you stuck yourself to answer this question? Some behavioral change would have happened, right? Just reflect on it, right? And say that I think there is no need to feel any stress. We have got the skill. Just reflect on what has happened. And I would not at least recommend you to kind of try and take section test after section test to reach a score of 30, the 30 or 40. I do not recommend that to happen. They just treat that the worst thing has already happened, and then move forward. You could, um, for instance, whatever the test that is low mark, just take it at your own speed time, at your own time. At the second try, give it all the rest, and look at the score that you say, okay, my skill is intact. Some decision that I made, I think I'm sure that I'm not going to repeat on the day of the CAT. You could also solve some previous year's CAT papers, the ones that you've solved in the beginning. Na? Just redo all those. That could be another one. Okay. Where else? Okay. Good evening, sir. How do I salvage paragraph odd one out? My accuracy have fluctuate. There you go. Okay. So I think that I've answered this particular question. I think that you stick to one particular process. No, when it comes to paragraph jumble odd one out. No, you can stick to a process. What I would recommend, for example, in odd one, only one sentence is odd, right? There is only one sentence is odd. So an idea is repeated in two sentences and only one sentence is odd. The idea survives. So what you kind of want to do in odd sentence, what you could do is you read the sentences, pick up any repeating ideas. Okay, if there is anything that repeats, an idea that repeats, that has to be the part of the paragraph, and then think about using whatever is a repeating idea. Figure out what sort of the unity of the particular paragraph is, and then evaluate. Paragraph jumble, you could look at, okay, you had simply have a process. I will start with the starting sentence. I want to get the start. Okay, what needs to come next? What needs, you can do the sequencing like that. Or you can, okay, these two sentences have to be together because it makes sense for these sentences together, whatever it is, right? So what I would sort of recommend is you pick up the CAT previous year's question, pick up paragraph jumble, pick up odd sentence, figure out a process. All we need to do is just start with the process. It's fine. We have got enough time, right? I mean, how much time does it take to build a skill? No, how much time? Or reasonable, if I can spend about 10 hours on it, I think that I can develop a reasonable ability, no, but in the right approach. That's what I would recommend. Sir, in VRC 1000, your last med tells helped me a lot. Very good. So, okay, thank you. All right. So, not that good in VRC, mostly in the age of 15-25. Got slot one. What kind of prep can we do in the last minute 3-4 days for ready for IMK VRC this year? All right. So, so first of all, getting slot one is, I mean, see, whatever is a difficulty across the slot, no, that is taken care by the CAT by scaling up process. Don't treat like there are three tests. You have got only one test, which is slot one test. You are competing with the person taking the test, right? Now you are getting a score which is in the range of 15 to 25. My feeling is that you're probably looking at couple of the RCs, and very, very unlikely you are respecting VA. My feeling, Mayan, is that VA is out of your mind, body, soul. For you, VA doesn't exist. You have not put in a lot of effort in VA. Okay, probably that is the truth. We still have time. What we need is, if I can, I think that 15 to 25 clearly tells me the VA should get me 10 marks, na? How much ever RC that I'm doing. So let's do the VA. You could pick up some of these previous years section test. You can pick up some of these previous years, or let's say the section test that you have with you, or the whatever mocks that you have with you, whatever it is. Just pick up the VA, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes, and do it. Which is what I will say. Being ready. So please help me. I'm not able to solve the odd one out. Overall, I think I've already addressed. I hope that you are listening. Any revision for VRC? I don't know what is that I have to revise. I really don't know. I think that I can actually say that in maths you could revise some topic or question, or DLR. There are some of these kind of sets that is troubling me. I don't know what is the revision that is required for VRC. I mean, if you kind of feel that, let's say that there are certain type of questions that confuses you. Let's say some of this critical reasoning question, you could go back and look at those critical reasoning question and look at a logic in terms of how to answer them, or maybe if it is a VA type of question. But otherwise, I don't think there is anything that need to be revised, because at the end of the day, whatever is the knowledge that is required to answer the question is going to be provided by the test. We are bringing skills there. Knowledge is provided by them. I'm going to apply to the knowledge on the my skill on the knowledge that I gain sort of during the test. So in that sense, I don't know, I mean, what kind of revision you could do. But uh, I would recommend that you sort of look at areas which troubles you, maybe troubled you in the past. Just look at some of these questions that you bookmarked. Just relook at some of the question, and uh, look at how we're going to deal with those kind of questions on the day of the cat. All right, what else? Is it fine to appear for VRC section in last 3 4 days? Thanks a lot. I have an improvement because amazing acting skills in explanation. Okay. Second, for the second part, thank you so much. For the first question, I really don't know. Right. Okay. So you should do what you think is right in your mind. See, some of us basically say that, yeah, for every single mock, nah, I used to take on Sundays. For all this, every Sunday I used to take mock. On Saturday, I was preparing. So cat is like a mock this Sunday. Why can't I prepare on Saturday also? Someone will say that I've done enough. I want to now chill, prepare my mind, right? Be positive. I probably want to sit and do absolute crazy shit on, all right, I don't know whether I can use it. Crazy things on slip of a tongue. A crazy thing on, there's maybe some Govinda movie. I don't know. I don't know. People still watch movies like those, or something. You could do that. So if, let's say that if you want to do VR section, there has to be. Okay, but this is what I'll say. There has to be reason for you to do it. You're basically telling yourself that in the last 3 4 days there are still something that I want to build. Maybe I'm behaving in the particular test. Maybe I want to try out something. There has to be a specific reason as to why you're doing this VR sectional, not for any random reason. If you can't find a reason to do a sectional, just don't do it. That's what I would say. All right, what next? We have some VR marks have been between 20 for the last 2 to 3 marks, and accuracy has been an issue. What time? I think I've already discussed it, Chaitanya. I think that I've already discussed. But let me tell you something. This less than 20 means na तुमने तो VA ignore करके रखा है. So we have got 20, 25 today also. Today 25, 26, 27, 28. 4 days. So 3 hours per day. That is 12 hours. 12 hours is enough. My last ditch effort to deal with VA. Right. And what I've got lot many resources. I've got lot of mocks. Okay, I'm just going to pick previous year's paper. I'm going to push the RC skills we already developed. Nah. Now the only thing that you have to do is read the passage on my own pace. Don't get stuck in questions. That's what I got to do. VA, I think that is still we can improve. That's what I will say. Sir, can you also share your number as you share VRC students? I have some doubts. Need your guidance. I think how many people are here? Okay, I don't know what my number is. You can note down my number. Okay, you can WhatsApp me. Um, I think that I've spoken to close to about 300, 400 students, I think, last couple of weeks. So you can, my number is 97698542234. So that is 97698542234. Okay, that's my number. All right. Sir, can you comment on SimCat? Oh, and CDC Pro difficulty compared to actual cat. I get around 25 in SimCat and 30 or mid 30s in CDC. What do you think? Can I touch? So I obviously can't comment on SimCat because I've not seen the test. Maybe one-off tests that I've seen here and there when somebody shared a question or something, but I've not really seen the test. I can obviously talk about CDC Pro level of difficulty. I think that what you have to also see is that within CDC Pro itself, there has been varied level of difficulty that has happened. Uh, I don't know what the level of difficulty is compared to actual cat because I the cat paper I don't know what is a cat paper that is going to come on 29th. But if I look at the previous year's cat, you would I can say that at CDC Pro level of difficulty would have been close to at least one of those cats in the previous years. All right. So if you're able to get about 30s or mid 30s in CDC, I think you're doing a good job. 36 would be about 95 to 98 percentile. Yes, I'm guessing that Meghna, you're solving three RCs and BA questions, no? I think that mid 30s would be a fantastic. I don't know whether you're solving, looking at all the questions. So if you're able to get about 30s in CDC, I think that I think you definitely get. How can I stretch it to 98? You don't have to do anything to stretch anything to 98 now. The only thing that you got to do is about focusing on the question that you're confident. I'll only get to know the question that I'm confident if I see and do the question on the screen. If the question is paining me, check in next. Uh, and 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 access as many questions as you can with confidence. So if the question is confusing you, move, because I know there is another question that I can solve. And don't change anything whatsoever. Right? You say absolutely nothing. Right? You do stuff exactly the way that you do. Nothing needs to change. If at all there is only thing is, don't waste unnecessary time on question in the hope that I'm going to get 3 marks. That's it. All right, there you go. What else? Sir, does it make sense to throw in random number for paragraph jumble odds and out? I think there are 30. I mean, so why would you say that first? I mean, odd one out question, there is what? One question correct out of five? So both wrong is what? 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5. That is 16 out of 25. Right. So at least one correct. Probability says it's 9 out of 25. That is what 36 percentage probability in odd one out. Paragraph jumble, random does make sense. So there is a 36% probability of getting something right. But why would you say that? Why are you saying that I can invest our time on RC or VF? First of all, I don't know the paper. I've not seen the paper. Why am I sitting and making decisions? No, we can decide then, no, based on what we see on the screen. No, why are we sitting and deciding today? We will go there. Cat is all about questions that I see on the screen. No, so why are we worried today in terms of what I'm going to do? Nothing needs to be done. Let the paper come. I will go one by one. I'll deal with the question that I see on the screen and move forward. That's what I would do. Sir, I reattempted the previous year's mock 24 completed last 3 days, and each slot of ERC I scored 40/50. It could be because I'm already familiar with the question. How can I analyze in such case? Let's be happy with 40 and 50. Let's not analyze at all. We have got amazing skills. Let's forget about the fact that I've taken last year's mock. Who remembers? Okay, what do you remember after 1 year? What is absolutely crazy, na? When I say people, I tell people that see if a question confuses, na, you leave the question, go to the next one and come back if you have time. People say, sir, if I come back now, I will forget things. And here is somebody telling me that he has not forgotten question from last year. What will you forget? Okay. So this is what I'll say. They say, let's not evaluate only. 45 to 50, good place. I've got great skill. Great. We'll move forward. That's what I would do. Whenever I finish first pass, irrespective of number of questions attempted within 77 minutes, I score in high 40s. Whenever I finish first passage, irrespective of the number of questions attempted, within 7 to 7.5 minutes, I score in high 40s. Otherwise, low 30s, because I end up only with 3 passages. Okay, let's. Simple problem. It's a simple problem. We can easily do. Let's look at why you are able to solve a passage in about 7.5 minutes. Okay, let's see this. The passage is only 500 words. If we read it at my own pace, understand this, what max, I'm going to take about 4 minutes. I've got 3 minutes. There are some questions that are usually that I'm confident is I can knock it up in 30 seconds. I read the question, I keep going each options, I'm evaluating the option, less than a minute, I can knock it off. So if there is, let's say, I think that in those three four questions put together, if I don't get stuck at all, if none of the option confuses me, that four questions go off in about 2 to 3 minutes. So you got 4 plus 3 in about 7 minutes. Now, what happens if the question is confusing? Then it's completely up to you in terms of what you're going to do next. You have a lot of choices. If it's confusing, you can, 50-50, let's mark one. You could, I mean, you could do that. Gambling. Gambling never works. Okay. The second thing that you can do is now you're saying that, okay, I have read this passage. Now I have to, for some reason, I have to invest time in this particular question. And I'm going to sit and invest time in this particular question. So what I'm now going to do is spend 1 extra minute on that question. 1.5. See, this time that you keep thinking and going back, no, that time you will never calculate. No, I'm spending extra 1.5 minutes. I'm spending extra 2 minutes on the particular question. Before you know it, it has gone to 9 minutes. So your ability to do a passage in 7.5 minutes is there. Nothing need to change. You're not reading anything fast. You're reading everything at the same pace as always. Just when you get confused in some question, you say it's not worth it. It's not worth my time and effort. So there are 24 battles, right? And we have to win a war. War, and there are 24 individual battles. Some battles we should be willing to lose. We should know what are the battles that I'm going to pick. The unnecessary fighting on one particular question, spending 2 minutes, 3 minutes, in some hope that I'm going to defeat the question. Why? Just say, I give up. I'll take the next battle. That's what I'll do. These days, I don't feel like studying anymore. And if I study, the wrong question affects me. Okay, I am not able to understand this. If you don't feel like studying, don't study. There's no problem. I'm sure that you feel like taking the CAT. No, you're fully prepped. So if you let's say it happens, yeah, no issues. I mean, just ensure that you are sort of is doing something in terms of prepping yourself, your mind, for the test. Uh, and if I study that, you don't have to study anything extra. We have gained all the skills that we have. You could probably just revise a few concepts of maths or whatever, DLR, some few questions here and there, and then keep it chill. You want to go back and be sort of, get in your best health on the day, get my biological sort of clock in place. Let me take a printout of this. Let me actually go to the venue once, wherever my venue is, have a look at the particular place and see, okay, here is where I'm going to rock on Sundays. Do I'm saying meet your friends. What you could do. How to revise, in VRC? I have been solving 3 RCs and few VA every day. Last, I don't like few VA. What does few VA mean? Let's give some respect to VA. Na? I think that you probably would have got enough skill set with RC. RC is getting wherever RC is getting you. All right. So you've got skills. I think that if, let's say, instead of revise, this few VA, I'm already not liking the way in which you're phrasing it. You're not giving respect to VA. That's the one. It's 24 marks worth of questions in VA. 24. Imagine on the day of the cat, you got 20 marks in VA. Imagine. So I would say that you can still do this. Even if I cut down, let's say that I'm doing a couple of RCs, but I'm getting the VA in place, whichever is a problematic area, then I would probably suggest that. All right, what else? So my RC accuracy is 9 to 10 on 16. Should I leave a few tough questions in the passage if they seem? Yes, you should. See these 9 to 10 questions. Now, most of this 9 to 10 is question that you're confident. No, you are most of the question confident. Why am I unnecessarily? The problem now, you're looking at 16, which means that you're looking at all the passage. You don't like seeing red on the right hand side. You want to see green. Everything is green. I attempted everything. I feel so nice. I think that's the problem that we're having. If you don't feel like leaving a question, I don't feel like leaving. What you could actually do is you don't have to leave any question. You say that if a question is confusing, I'll come back to this later. बाकी देखता हूँ Maybe I'll probably, if I'm able to attempt those questions that I'm confident about, one that is really troubling me. So if there is some question that is troubling me, but I still feel that answer choice is let's say two, I'll mark it, right? I'm about 70% confident that answer, I'll just mark it. I can do that. But if I'm really clueless, what's happening is really confusing me, just chuck it and come back to it later towards the end. So let's assume that out of the 16 questions, you are confident about 12 of those. Out of this confident 12 questions, let's say that you got about, I don't know, eight, eight, nine, 8 marks or 9 marks, right? So, and there are some questions that you're not confident. Let's say that you take the 24 marks that you got, 24 marks that you got, go to the VA, pick up, let's say, additional 12, 15 marks, get to about 38, 36, 38, 36, and then if you have time, go to those questions that you got confused and see if I can add another three to it, another three, another three, right? And then that's sort of how I think that you should work. My VRC is going a lot of unpredictable. Everybody's VRC is unpredictable. Sometimes get 30 in difficult VRC, but get a single decision in even VRC. How to work? I think, see, there are a lot of variables in VRC, na? Because I think the way in which question, I don't know what the passage somebody is going to give me, the options, how it is created. There are a lot many variables. So predictable in terms of score is okay, but what is predictable? Is this question that I'm confident I'm getting high accuracy, that I'm confident, and question I'm getting confused, I'm wasting a lot of time. Those are predictable things. So you look at your tests that you've taken in the last, let's say, last 3 4 months, reflect on what are the good things that you did, good behaviors that you had, and focus on those behavior and say, avoid, how do I avoid bad behaviors, and take a list of those. And then you don't even have to take a particular mock like that. You can just take, for example, a previous art cat passage that you've done, or cat test, and then let's say go through that emotions in terms of, okay, what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to chuck this question, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. You could do stuff like those, right? So that's what I would say. What is, we'll take all doubts, keep them coming in the chat. Okay, some more. What next? Is it advisable to continue reading a passage when you are not comprehending it as much, but you already spent 4 to 5 minutes? No, 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 no. You cannot reach a stage after 4 to 5 minutes. That is like what? Imagine what is 4 to 5 minutes, right? I don't know. Is there anything that I can read? I have nothing in my. Okay, let's just read your comment only. Okay. Okay, in this space, is it advisable to continue reading a passage when you're not comprehending it as much, but you already spend like 4 to 5 minutes on it? If I read at this speed, it'll be about 100 words per minute. That is this speed that I just told you, right? So in 4 to 5 minutes, you can read 400 to 500 words, unless you're reading sentences twice. So you cannot be spending 4 to 5 minutes and then decide, shock, I didn't understand anything. What you have to do is, if I don't understand the passage, then nothing's going to happen with the question. No. Let's say you start with paragraph number one, a little confusing, very difficult. You have a choice. I mean, I'll probably come back to this passage later. You could do that later, or just engage with the text. So, for example, you started reading passage. First two sentences is like a little bit. Just let's like talk. Okay, what is author trying to tell me? Let's quick summarize. Take a pause. Summarize. Okay, this makes sense. This is what author is trying. Okay, author is giving gali to this guy. Okay, author is saying this, and sort of keep moving forward. I cannot be in a situation that after 4 minutes I realize, "Yeah, I didn't do anything." I cannot be in that situation. You should not be. How deal with tricky sentence placement questions, sir? Some introduce a topic at some introduce an example. The best way to deal with tricky sentence placement question is this. Listen to me very carefully. In the examination, you see a question. Let's say that is question number 21. Question number 21 is very tricky sentence placement question. I looked at it. It looks at it's. I'm looking at this particular sentence. I see that blank number one and blank number three. Both seems to be very fairly thing. I can't figure out where to go. The best way to deal with it, there's a button called next. Click on the button next, move to the next question. This is what you should do in the examination hall. Now, to answer a specific question, how to deal with tricky sentence placement questions, sir? Some introduce topic at start, some introduce an example. So introduction at start. So if there is any example that somebody is giving at the start now, let's say if I'm starting with an example, you look at a lot of these TED talks, right? Everybody start with a story, an example. Then you definitely need a sentence. There is a hook. Let's call it a hook. Let's say a story, a anecdote, whatever. An example. It's a hook, right? There has to be a topic. It goes to a topic, right? It goes to a topic, but there has to be a connecting sentence, or there has to be something that takes his example into the larger discussion. Okay, so you could, for example, I don't know, you've read probably a lot of Eon essays, no? Just go to a few articles in Eon essays, read the first paragraph. You will notice that there is a lot many first paragraph. You can read, let's say, opinion articles on, let's say, Guardian or something. Just pick up a few articles. Just the first paragraph. You will see that many articles that has start with an example has got the sentence or the idea that kind of connects it to the next one. Just have a look at that, identify that, and I'm sure that you will navigate it. Okay, what else? Okay. Sir, I tried to solve RC in 7 minutes and then 12 minutes VA, but my attempts is still around 19 to 20. Should I attempt all? My accuracy, I think 19 to 20 is great. Okay. So there is no point. See, again, we have to define what attempt means. Attempt is not marking. Attempt means I'm reasonably confident about the answer. That's an attempt. There is a negative attempt also, which is like I'm absolutely confused, but I'm still taking time. Then I mark something. That's a negative attempt. Then there is gambling, right? Pure, sure gambling. Odd sentence, three. That is absolute gambling. So if I define an attempt as something that I'm reasonably confident, I'm using the word reasonably. I could be about 70% confident. And you should only do those, right? So long as your attempt is about 19 to 20, out of the 60, let me put it this way: 19 to 20 questions, right? These are all reasonably confident attempts, right? Then it's fine. But those four questions that you missed, you didn't even look at the question. There were some questions that you could have attempted, that you could have been reasonably confident about your attempts. Then you should relook at and say that in these 19 questions that I'm attempting, am I really wasting a lot of time in a few questions to get how many marks? So that's what this. You okay? Trying to solve RC in 7 minutes, only that. You can't be reading the passage faster. You just, if you get stuck in a question, just move on. Okay. Greetings, sir. My Aadhaar has childhood picture of mine. My Aadhaar. Shit. I should cut my Aadhaar number, na. There you go. I don't know Aadhaar number. I have my date of birth. I'll put there. This is my Aadhaar picture. There is absolutely no connection between who is this fellow. If somebody gives you this photograph and say that this is Gejo sir, you will say no. There is no problem with respect to your Aadhaar. You just go there. I mean, everybody's Aadhaar has the same problem. Just go there and sort of take it. There's no issues, right? So you are carrying Aadhaar. Nah, I think that's fine. Absolutely okay. Okay. So the guide for some sentence. I think I've already spent a lot of time on sentence placement. Madhav, I think that I've already addressed it. Okay. What to revise on the last days in VRC? I think I've already addressed it. Hopefully, you can watch the video. I've addressed it. What else? In VA, is VA in mocks difficult as per the actual CAT previous? I get things correct, but in mocks it's painful. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think. See, creating a very good VA question is very difficult. Now you are looking at a paragraph's jumble question or odd sentence. There has to be only one correct answer, and it takes a lot of effort to create a very good VA question. So the difficulty level in the VA question usually stems from the questions that are sort of making a mistake in terms of one additional possibility of this. I don't think the cat will have that problem, so don't worry. Currently, I'm doing around 10 minutes on an average to read and answer one RC passage. Now, first of all, it is not 10 minutes on an average to read. You are doing 10 minutes on an average. You're investing 10 minutes on a reading comprehension, which has got two activities: reading a passage, solving question number one. solving question number 2, solving question number 3, and then question number 4. That is the whole thing. So this 10 minutes, I'm sure that what is going to be constant, more or less constant, is your reading. You can't change it, right? Whatever is your pace of reading is your pace of reading. That is going to be the constant. No compromise on it. Let's say that you take about so 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I have to read every option very carefully. No compromise on it. Right? I have to read every option carefully. I have to read the passage carefully. No compromise on it. Maybe reading every option carefully, it's about 20 seconds time. That is about additional, let's say about 1 minute, just to read. Obviously, you read and okay. What is about thinking? Thinking is a variable. How much time you sit and think. So in lot many cases, you've read it really well. You go to a particular question, you have picked up one particular option and say that eliminate it and marked it is fine. The amount of time that I want to evaluate, I go back to the particular passage, read the passage once again, read the you can do all that. You can still go back to the paragraph, read it. There's no problem. If you know that to answer this particular question, to get these 3 marks, I just have to go to the passage and check one element of it. Absolutely no problem. Go back to the passage, reading it. That is a good effort. Now, if you get confused with two options or something, if you start thinking on it, wasting time, that 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute happens. So you don't have to put any target in terms of how much time I will spend on one RC. There is no need. You tell yourself that so long as I'm picking 3 marks, I'm happy. If there is a question that is not helping me 3 marks, I'm just going to move to the next one. So long as you keep this intact, so there is sort of no problem. Okay, is there any more question? When I attempt limited question, my marks goes in single digit or negative. When I attempt more question, I get low percentile. How do you close sectional cutoff? When I attempt a limited question, my marks goes in single digit or negative. See, you cannot chase anything. Unfortunately, no, yes, you can't be chasing a score. You can't be chasing anything. That's not what the test is. The test is a question that we see on the screen. The only thing that I have to do, individually focus on each question, read the passage at my own pace, keep going forward, and let's say what is the sectional cutoff. Let's look at the why I'm Lucknow has 85 percentile. No, that's the highest, and more other colleges will have some has got 75 percentile, some has got 80 percentile. So the sectional cutoff therefore is going to be what 18 to 20 marks roughly. I think if I look at the last 3 years, so that's about getting about 7 questions correct. To be very sure, about 8 questions correct. That's it. 8 questions. So even in VA, you got 3 questions correct net. So in RC, you probably need about 5 questions net correct. So there are enough questions that I can attempt to get the score. But if I keep chasing and reading fast and chasing something, worried about time, it's not going to work. You read at stuff at your own pace and keep betting, keep moving. You want to do as many attempts as possible. Yes, I want to do. I want to maximize attempt. But unfortunately, in some cases, I get confused in a particular option. What do I do? Nothing I can do. At least that point in time. You can obviously come back a little later to that particular question. Sir, I can score 42. I can also score case. How to make sure I score 42? X just now. 42 means you are evaluating all the questions. Why would you score 6? Why would you score 6? From 42, you attempted everything, and I think that this is about. I think that something broke down. You lost concentration. I don't know what. You read the passage fast. You say that, or overconfident, or over analysis. Something happened. You can't score 6. You score 6. Great. It's a great experience. Something that's taught us that there's a worst thing that has happened. The best way to look at 42 is that my full skill set has to be applicable on the day. That's what needs to happen. Some accuracy is high, scoring 50, but sometimes I get confused while filling the blanks in paragraph summary. Should I take calculated risk in those questions? Yes, you can. I mean, don't gamble completely, but I think you're scoring about 50 is pretty good. I mean, awesome. You are saying that you can get 50 is like what? There are 48 marks, right? 60 in 3 are 48. No, 48 marks in RC and 24 marks from VA. You get confused in paragraph summary and those the fill in the blanks question. That's almost like 5 questions, maybe 6 questions. Oh, sharks! This is awesome. And don't gamble. I mean, if you feel that it is it's there is no don't do unnecessary gamble. Don't do. Fine. If you're about reason, then yeah, you cross, let's say, about, okay, there are enough reasons for me to pick, let's say, 3/2. There are enough reasons for me to, I believe the 3 is better than 2. Pick it. But it's like almost at that level, they don't pick it. All right. Few more concern. This is what I experienced in Open CTC exam. While the VR section, I still am not able to focus on RC. A little like anxious, so I go for just VA and time ends. No, 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 no. There's no strategy. But why be anxious? I've been telling so far. Nah, everything is based on the question on the screen. Nah. You start with VA. You don't really want to spend your energy. No, I have to look at as many questions as I can. You first of all questions carry equal marks. It is not like tough question carry more marks. Every question carry equal marks. And I'm the only thing that I can do is read at my own pace. That's in my control. That has to be there. The second thing that I can do is that how long I'm going to spend evaluating on a particular question. That's the second thing that I can control. Right. And then I control the button next and whatever. These are the things in my control. So what you have to do is that you got enough skills. Ensure that your skill is put to absolute use on the day of the test. And the rest of the thing I already discussed. Okay, is there any more questions? There are a lot of questions. I think that if there is something that I've already discussed, I'll not pick it up. Let's take like this. Currently, I take about 10 minutes on average read on passage. Okay, so I already addressed this. What about this one? My percentile in VRC is fluctuating a lot from 40 to 98. I couldn't decipher why. How can I think I've already mentioned this. I mean, 40 to the 98 percentile. I'm sure that you're chasing something. That's what I feel. You're chasing something. You feel like you have to attempt this many questions no matter what. Something that you're chasing. Some a number of attempts or target number of attempts. Or kuch to you're chasing. Because you're assuming that my accuracy is this, I need to attempt this many. Something you're chasing. Don't chase anything. Questions on the screen. Usko handle karte jao. Okay, let's move on quickly. I'm attempting 20 questions every mock. I get about 14 to 16 correct. Should I reduce the number of attempts? We are not reducing attempts at all. What did I define as an attempt? Attempt is questions that I'm marking that I'm fairly confident about. Why should I reduce that? What I'm going to reduce is gamblings. What I'm going to reduce is negative attempts. That I spend a lot of time evaluating a question that I'm really confused with. That's what I want to reduce. Okay, there. Should I attempt more sections or go back and revisit the mistakes? I mean, why would you revisit mistakes? Now is the time to revisit all the amazing things. That's what I would do. I mean, you can revisit the mistake. I don't know. There has to be some reason as to why you're attempting more sectional. That's the only thing that I'll have. But there has to be some reason you're doing it. If you have some reason that you can tell yourself, please go ahead. Otherwise, I'm saying it's fine. So sometimes when reading the passage, I forgot the previous paragraph. Tips to focus more. There's no. There's a pen, nah? There's a paper, no. Scribble something down about the passage. You don't have to refer to it. Just scribble. It, 3 words, 4 words. Passage, author unhappy with this person. Scribble something down. That could help. Or you keep engaging, right? So which means you stop after a particular paragraph, just reflect on what the paragraph is saying, go to the second paragraph, and then what you do is stop there, take a summary, connect the first two paragraphs ideas, and keep doing that. Right. So you're engaging with the text. That will ensure that you will, but I don't know last minute whether it's going to help, but that is my advice. Sir, CL mock versus actual cat. Pretty okay, I'm sure. I think if you look at the CDC Pro mocks, I think it's fairly like the cat only. But I don't know what the actual cat is going to be on this Sunday. What else? When I start the mock, the speed of reading is slow. I end up spending 10 minutes on the first passage. There's no. There's no don't do anything with respect to speed of reading. You read at your own pace. You are spending 10 minutes just reading or getting stuck in particular question and getting confused. I think there is no need to improve any speed. What you could do now before the start of the test? No, I think that you obviously, unfortunately, like when they have test is 8:30, they've called us to report at 7. God knows why, right? But I'm hoping that, and then at 8 o'clock, they'll everything is closed. Test is going to start at 8:30. But I'm 100% sure we'll be sitting in the particular center, staring at the computer, looking at a photograph there, and said that why did I give this stupid photograph? Okay, and then and then we'll be staring at this computer for God knows how much time. At that point in time, no instruction, na, you've got instruction, you're printing your admit card, no, read it some 5 times. Then they, at some point in time, they say that instructions will come on the screen. Read it like RC passage. Okay, like your first RC passage. Read it like you want to solve some questions. Oh, this particular test has got 68 questions. Good. What is said? Okay, this is why I'm not supposed to do this. Just read the instructions like you're reading a passage only. So your first passage is your admit card and instructions on the cat. That is your first passage. And then I'm sure the rest of the passage can matter. Okay, there you go. What should I do when I'm stuck with two option 50-50 situation? There is a button called next. Move. This is about the key situation. When we lose a key, at that frustrating thing, we'll never find the key. And after some time, suddenly we remember, oh, I kept it here. So frustrated reasoning will not do. 50-50 situation, there is no point. Click next. If you have time later, come back and evaluate. All right, so we have some more reviews for Oswald book for people. I have no clue. Sorry, bad, wrong person to ask for a review. Okay. What is suggested? The question type are jumbled up the paper. Then how to start the paper sequence? You do what works for you. Yeah. I mean, if you feel like you want to do RCs first, you can. I think what is that? You'll know now where are the four RCs, or you want to start with the VA, or you pick up as the order which that comes. Just do what you used to do. Don't do anything. Okay. So I have difficulty in comprehending local open based questions. When I attempt is 50-50 accuracy. If it's right, a score. If it's wrong, lose is a risky shot. If you avoid the question now, see, don't worry about local open. Okay, so I got it. Okay, this is like it is all over the passage, no? Uh, so it's like I think that this question, according to the passage, which one of the following is true, or each of the following is true except those kind of questions, right? Yeah, it's very painful. You know, it's not the painful for me. I hate that question. Why can't the questions or the question that gives us? You have to keep hunting. You do the hunting towards the end. No, hunting to करना है. तो बाकी कर लो. Not every question is going to be open. No, just do it towards the end if you want to hunt. So what you should do in such question, you're hoping that if it's an accept question, one option stands out, an absolutely stupid option, right? You said that path. I know that this discussion didn't happen, so definitely give it a read. Okay, just read the question and think for a moment. Say, where okay, okay, what is the question really asking? What am I looking for in the particular answer? Just go through the four answer choice. If there is something that you can evaluate, great. If you feel that I have to go back and check from the passage, you just tell yourself, I'm going to do it later. That's what I'll say. Okay, so last year messed up over attempting, and this year I want to maximize my score, but I'm not completely sure about what strategy followed in CDC. I get all wrong above 6 difficulty. See, the only thing that you can do, Saksham, is first of all forget last year. Na? It's also like one test, na. It's like how different is like. Oh, obviously the event was important. The test was important because the consequence of the test was significant. The cat, but as a test is very similar to any of the mocks that you have taken. No? Yes, a mock that you don't have any consequence. So it just let's forget about last year completely. Just one of the tests that we took. What you like I told you is that the way in which you max there is no over attempt. I said we have to define attempt. Attempt mean question that I'm reasonably confident. Question that I'm not confident. 50-50. Not worth. Not worth my time, not worth my effort. If the question is above 6.5 difficulty, that's fine. Did I get confused? And did I unnecessarily mark something? That is the question. The whether the question is difficult is something that we'll come to know later. Na? It's like analysis after the test. No? So obviously we never get to do those things. So I mean, that's what I'll say. Okay. What else? CL mock number versus cat score. Boy, I mean, I CAT is going to be scaled up, down. There is, I'm sure, a little bit of pressure that happens on the CAT day. Everybody's score is probably going to come down that usual than what you take in the test. That's happened to everybody. So I think, but mota, where the CAT at least has been over the years. If I look at the level of difficulty, is very similar to what we see in the last few years. If you are in your mid 20s, you're probably in the 90th percentile, close range to that. If you are in your 30s, early 30s, very close to 95 percentile, late 30s, 97 percentile. If you're in your 40s, you'll be the 99 percentile, and then 50s, so you'll get there. So that's how it's going to be. All right, what else? So what is recommended minimum average time I should spend to read an RC passage? There is no minimum average time. It is a time that you take, your space of comprehension, whatever you take to understand what the passage is. I don't want to do unnecessary rereading of every single sentence 3 4 times, but I am going to read at my own normal pace of comprehension. It is going to be slightly slower than when you read an article. Let's say you read something, because naturally you kind of read a little faster. This is like you're critically engaging with the test. So minimum, maximum average time, I don't know what is the maximum you can spend. I think it's 500 words now. 5 minutes. That's maximum average. I think so. 100 words per minute. That 100 words is really slow. That's real slow reading, right? So that's spice. My slot is one. Okay, nothing that I've lost. Abhishek, I think what we discussed. Strategy for odd one out. I think I already discussed this. Anjali, sir, suddenly going wrong in a VR section, not able to get RCs correct. Please suggest what to do the last 3 4 days. It's okay. I think it may not be an RC problem. It may be a VA problem. So your score kind of, you're hoping that every mark has to come from RC, and you kind of forgot that VA exists. It may be a VA problem. So let's say, for example, to achieve a particular score, you've decided. So you don't have any hope on VA. VA doesn't exist to you. So whatever has to happen has to be an RC. VA is for your bonus. So your attitude will be that if I don't attempt this many questions in RC, now it's going to be a problem. And then unnecessarily we kept attempting all this. Uh, we do all these negative attempts. We do a lot of gamblings. I think maybe a VA problem. So, did you seriously think that 24 marks you have to give respect to VA? So what is recommended? Okay, this I already answered. What else? Sir, my accuracy in RC has been dipping in the past 1 2 weeks. I think the same thing I'll say, which I just mentioned about this one. So what do you suggest in the last 5 days? I've already said, I think that you should do. I'm sure that I've already answered this question, but you don't know, you won't know where it is. I don't know whether you came late. Uh, but uh, but basically what I said, you said it last day is about you preparing yourself for a test. No, I'm sure that you have your own rituals before examination. You have your own rituals before important things. You have your own ideas, things, right? So you do you. Right? What I would surely recommend is ensure that your biological clock is mapped to the cat day. Okay, that's very, very important. Right? So that's something that you want to do. Sir, I attempt 3 RC with 5 to 6 RCs regularly, but today tried to cut half of VA time for fourth RC. No, you can't randomly cut VA to do fourth RC. I can't come like that. It can't do like that. You can't sit here and decide that there are VA questions I'll cut. I don't know what question I will cut. I will cut the question that is not helping me in the exam. No. Why am I deciding today what I have to cut? No, 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 no. This is bad. This is bad. I can't sit here and decide what I'm going to cut. If at all I have to cut anything. Yeah. No. Sir, as you said before, reading all the RC thoroughly or reading all the options of all RCs we cannot determine. No, 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 I'm not. Sir, as you suggested, reading all RCs thoroughly or reading all options of all the RC we cannot determine which RCs. You don't know which. See, I don't know. First of all, when I'm solving an RC, I read the RC first. I go to the question. I read the question carefully. I think about what the question wants. Make maybe a prediction in my head. like a ghost answer in my head, and then evaluate the four answer choice. I know that for certain things, I this evaluation is fine. I can deal with it then and there. Sometimes I feel that I have to probably go back to the passage, refer to the passage, and I'll do that, and I come back and I mark it if I'm reasonably confident about the answer. If I'm not, I'll just say, okay, is there anything that I can do with the last two options? Okay, let me give one more try. Okay, this is not helping. Okay, it's not worth it. I'll go to the next one. That's what I will do. Now, if you're asking me about selecting which RCs to solve, you don't have time usually to solve all the four RCs. Maybe you're solving three, or maybe you're solving two. How to select that, I don't know, because at the end of the day, we can't know. We just can't read the question and decide whether the RC is going to be tough. We can't even read the four options, no, unless until we have an understanding of the passage. We can only look at the passage and say that, okay, the passages that I'm comfortable with is likely going to be something that I will take up. There is no point reading a particular passage first, at least. I think that would be my suggestion. All right, what is? Okay, I answered this. I think I already did this. I think most of this question I've already done. Is there anything that is new? Okay, let me just check if sort of anything that is new. So my percentile till now is 20. Should I take the cat? No. क्या ही है? There's nothing to fear. Just take the cat. Just go have fun. So one more question, sir. It'll be immensely since RC session. Oh, fantastic. What does it mean when you suddenly score very less in the RC? It means nothing. I don't know. I think some of the cases I just ignore. Nah? Some of the problems should be ignored. I think what you can do is, obviously you can reflect on what happened. There could be multiple reasons as to why it happened. Or at this point in time, you know what I'm thinking? The worst has already happened. Thank you. I have done the worst. Thank you so much. Cat, I'm going to rock. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. This I've answered. This I've answered. I think most of the question I've answered. Is there anything now? I think I've more or less have answered. All right, there you go. I think I have. Anyways, all the very best. Okay, as sort of this passing note, I want to say share this as an idea, right? We have put in a lot of effort. We have got our skills. We have the skill to get the score that we need. If it's in the mid 20s that I need, there are enough questions to get it. If in the mid 30s that I need, enough questions. If early 40s or late 40s that I need, there are enough questions. And I've got the skills to get this. You have to always remember, CAT is always about one more 3 mark. You'll see a question on the screen. I'm going to hunt for the next three. I'm going to hunt for the next three. That's all CAT is. There is no rocket science exam. There is no need for heavy duty strategy. Just focus on the question on the screen. If things are not working out from the particular question, move to the next one. Always read at your own pace, and keep positive. And I'm sure that you can also meet. I believe that. Let's see. There is some. Yeah. So this is tomorrow, 26 November. There is DLR revision sprint. That's a revision. That's going to be taken by GB and Raviteja. And then the quant revision strategy that is going to be taken by GB on the 27th. I think 28th. There is some. Just chat anything on. We'll have some fun. So all the very best for your cat. I hope that this session was beneficial. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.